what's up everyone, and welcome to my review for Grudge Match, which is a brand new film starring Sylvester Stallone and Robert De Niro, and this movie doesn't come out until next week, so why am I reviewing it? Well, I got to see an early screener for the movie yesterday. I went to the theater, I was all happy, I was like, oh boy, I get to see an early screener. And I saw this movie, not my first choice for a movie, but hey, it's a movie. Didn't look too terrible, so I was like, you know what, fine. I have posy vibes. I am looking forward to seeing the movie. I'm just happy I got to see it early, especially since next week there's about 5 other movies coming out. I could take one off the list. I don't need to see next week. Good. So what did I think of Grudge Match, the movie which has Robert De Niro and Sylvester Stallone boxing it out? Let's talk about the story. The story for Grudge Match follows 2 retired boxers. You have Henry Razor Sharp, played by Stallone, and you got Billy the Kid McDonough, played by De Niro. And they live simple lives now. They're in their 50s, 60s, whatever. They're old, so they just live simple lives. De Niro is that kind of douchebag type dude. He's a smart ass. And you have Stallone, who is, more gentle, keeps to himself. But back then, when they were boxers, they used to be rivals. They hated one another. And they both fought twice against each other, and they both won once. There was no tiebreaker. There was no third match. But now, 30 years later, after their last match, they're going to get a chance to, because Kevin Hart's character comes out and says, you know what? I want a sponsor. I want you guys to go and fight one last time, and I'll pay you a lot of money. And of course, Robert De Niro wants to fight Henry Sharp, because he wants to beat him. He wants to break the tie. And of course, Sylvester Stallone's character wants to, because he needs money. So they both do that. They both start to train. Robert De Niro's son helps him. And of course, Sylvester Stallone has Alan Arkin to help him. By the way, Robert De Niro's son is played by John Bernthal, Shane from Walking Dead. And Sylvester Stallone has Alan Arkin. Kind of unfair, if you ask me. One's a 30-year-old buff dude, and one's Alan Arkin. Not fair. And of course they train for the big bout at the end of the movie. Punches. So there you go, there's the story for Grudge Match. I was actually surprised by the story of Grudge Match, because when I went into this film I was expecting a lot of really dumb, silly jokes, a lot of, sexual humor, fart jokes or something. I was expecting that. I don't know really why I got that vibe from the trailer. Even though the trailer didn't really have all those jokes, I got that vibe. I just thought it was going to be a very silly movie with Robert De Niro and Sylvester Stallone, who both do silly movies nowadays. So that's what I was expecting, and I was really surprised because it was way more serious than I thought. Even though it's not like, it's not 12 Years a Slave serious, don't get me wrong, but it's way more serious than I thought. It's actually a little bit more mature. Sure, there's some jokes in there that are a little kind of like throwaway gags that they just came up with, out of nowhere. I mean, not even out of nowhere, just without any thought, like, fart jokes and stuff. But there's actually some really good humor in here, some heartwarming moments, I would say, and for the most part, I actually like this story. There's not too many twists and turns in the film. You kind of know where it's going to go. It's predictable, but it's fun. It is, and it's enjoyable. It's way more serious than I thought, at least, so it surprised me. The characters are likable for the most part. Both Sylvester Stallone and Robert De Niro do a fantastic job in this film, and they both have great chemistry, and they're both really funny. The rest of the cast, Kevin Hart is hilarious in this film. I thought he was really funny. Alan Arkin was really funny as well, but they're both really funny in most movies. You have Kim Basinger, who I haven't seen in a very long time, is really good in here, and the rest of the cast is great. John Bernthal is actually really good too. I'm happy to see that guy in more movies. So hey, the cast is great. Everybody is really likable for the most part. The dialogue, not the best, but it has its fair share of heartwarming and funny moments. So there you go. There's the story, there's the acting. I like both of them. So overall, the movie was actually pretty damn funny. Very surprising, because I thought it was going to be very not funny. It was pretty damn funny, even though there's, a lot of jokes here and there that, missed. But there was a lot that actually hit and made me actually laugh. Either chuckle or actually really laugh. So that, it was funny for the most part. Surprisingly heartwarming. Very serious at times, which I liked. The acting was really good, like I said. The characters were really likable. And I have to say this, the final match, the boxing match, which I was not expecting this, it was actually really good. It was filmed very well, even though they do that montage thing where it like passes by a few rounds of the match, which I don't like when any movie does. I hate that. But they did it in this film, and even though it does that, it was very well edited. Robert De Niro and Sylvester Stallone, even though Robert De Niro still looks a little chubby, there is times where it definitely is him in the ring and he's actually boxing, and I was very impressed. I was like, whoa, Robert De Niro, you got a lot more life in you than I thought. You were actually really good in this, and of course, he's no newbie in the boxing ring in a movie. I mean, he was in Raging Bull, and of course, Sylvester Stallone had friggin' 6 movies when he was in a boxing ring. So they're no newbies. So seeing them in the ring fighting off one against each other for like 20 minutes, it was actually really enjoyable. Very well shot. I just hated that they did the montage. I really did. Of course, Sylvester Stallone, he's still in great shape. So he beat the crap out of Robert De Niro sometimes, but I like that they actually made it make sense that Sylvester Stallone would get beat up by Robert De Niro, even though Robert De Niro was chubby. If you see the film, you'll know what I'm talking about. So there you go. I keep doing this. I don't know why. You'll know what I'm talking about. But yeah, the fight was actually really good. Very, I wouldn't say tense, but really fun to watch. It was very well edited. The rest of the movie was either really funny or really heartwarming. I really liked that. The acting was great. The characters were fun. I like this film. I was very surprised because I thought it was going to suck. And there's no reviews out there now. Critics might not agree. I don't care. I liked it. You can hate it as much as you want. I enjoyed it. So I'm going to give it a 30 out of 40 straight up. I enjoyed it quite a bit. So there you go. There's my early review for Grudge Match. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you and goodbye.